Hey there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, with another installment of Ask a Crafter. I lost my little sign that said that on that, so just pretend I have a little sign that says Ask a Crafter. Ooh, fancy. So I got another 3 pages of questions. I've got 40 minutes till the bus gets here. And then I got baseball and brownies, so I got one chance to do this. So I'm gonna hope for the best here. And I've got a fresh camera battery, so hopefully it won't cut out while I'm answering your questions. Let's just get right to it because we are compressed for time. Marie writes, I am a certified laughter leader at a yoga studio. What an awesome job. We're having a kids camp in July where we'll do laughter therapy, yoga, and some craft projects. The age group will be about 7 to 10-year-olds, and both boys and girls are welcome. There are beautiful hardwood floors at the studio and no tables. With that in mind, can you recommend a craft project we can prep and make easily without damaging the floors? All right, what you want to do here is what I call soft crafts. Those are the crafts that don't really make any mess other than just to sweep it up a bit. So things like sewing, working with felt, knitting. You might use a knitting spool and make some belts or some scarves. You could cut shapes out of felt and stitch them together and stuff them, make little stuffies. You could make pillows to use with your yoga. If you're doing some knitting, like on the spool, you could make some like those things they use, those straps, yoga straps, like help stretch, doll making, anything that you can do with like cloth or yarn that you could just sweep up afterwards. You don't want to have to scrub the floors when you're done. You don't want anything that might stain. Trust me, I've been in the situation where I've had all the kids at the church doing a project and then we've had a huge mess that has been impossible to clean, so I understand. I would stick with fabric, fiber arts, those types of crafts for this particular project. Unless, of course, you could take them outside, then you could do some tie-dyeing or something crazy like that, but keep it to the cloth and fiber and I think you'll be all right, and I think the kids will have a great time. Beading, too. You can do jewelry and beading. Just make sure you get all those little beads off the floor so nobody gets hurt stepping on them with their bare feet afterwards. Edwina writes, can you tell me where I can find shimmer and metallic watercolors and who they are by? Oh, I got a palette right here. I'll show you. Here we go. These are by Niji, and I got them at skybluepink.com, and I've seen these at the stamp shows. I've seen them in craft stores. They're about $6 a palette, and you should be able to find them pretty much anywhere. The Sargent brand actually makes a kids version that only has 8 colors. It's just a couple bucks, and that works pretty well too. But this brand is by Niji. Robin writes, I love those paints. I bought 3 when they were on sale. I'm wondering what a French knitter is. Is it a spool knitter that makes an I-cord? The tension on those with wire is tricky. Robin, well, I'm going to show you. I just got a spool knitter and I made this bracelet with it. There's a photo of that on my blog, thefrugalcrafter.wordpress.com, if you want a little more info on that. But this is the one I just bought, and it's by Clover. It was $12, but I used a coupon and got it for $6. Yay, coupons! And then you can take this top off, and then you can put a different one on. They have 4-peg, 5-peg, and 6-peg caps with this spool knitter. And then I just used some crochet cotton. And what I did to use it with beads was I dipped the end in some Mod Podge and let it dry so it was stiff like a needle. And then I just picked up my seed beads. Actually, these are E beads. And I just strung them all on there. And then when I used them on the loom here, I just pulled one up between each peg as I wrapped it. And then I got the little beaded rope that you see right here. So spool knitting, yay, awesome. Let's see, Jackie P writes, I was sitting here getting used to my Copics, which brings me to my question. I did a lot of reading on what paper to use that also wouldn't break the bank. I ended up buying cover stock, but it wasn't the same brand I was looking for, and it was feathering. She wrote that. Cardstock! Sorry. Moffat! Doctor Who fans, Sherlock fans will appreciate that. Anyway, so then I went to Archivers, spent $7 on a very small package of paper. Let me explain to you how that killed me. And of course, late last night, I thought, duh, she writes. I wonder what you use. If anyone would know a really good paper that's not ridiculously overpriced, you would. I use Nina Classic Crust, 80-pound, super smooth, in solar white. Is that specific enough for you? I love that. It's about 15 cents a sheet or so. A girlfriend of mine bought a ream of like 10 she bought a case of 10 reams and sold me a ream for 40 bucks shipped. So, and I'm very stingy with it. I will stamp like 9 things on a sheet of that paper and cut it out. And, or if I print on it, I will print like, you know, several different things so I don't waste any. But there is a online store called 7 Kids College Fund that sells 25 packs for about $5. And the shipping's not too bad, I don't think. So you might check them out if you don't want a full ream. Otherwise, you can get the ream from the Nina Company. Another great cardstock is Paper Tray ink. See, the Nina is so smooth it almost feels like silk when you touch it. The Paper Tray ink has a little tooth. So if you like to color with Copics, maybe you don't have a ton, and then you want to go over it like with colored pencil, it's perfect. So the Paper Tray ink, Stamper Select White, or the Nina, 80 pound, super smooth. Or I've also, the Gina K works really good too. It's really thick, and the ink doesn't bleed through to the back, so you can do a 1-layer card. But I do find that my colors turn out a lot lighter when I work on the Gina K. But any of those are great. A tip would be to go to your local print shop, like any mom and pop print out outfit you see. Just walk in there and ask if you can feel their paper. They'll look at you like a crazy person. No, they won't. I've done it all the time. And then buy a couple sheets of this and that, and then you can try out and see what you like. And they're usually happy to sell you paper at these print shops. And that way you don't have to buy a ream if you just want a few sheets, especially if you want to try it out. I wrote a whole article on paper for markers in Scrap and Stamp Arts. I think it was October 2010. You probably can find an archive of that online. I think the Marvel, if you can access the Marvel database, they have a lot of those old articles archived through Scrap Publications. So if you're that curious, you can probably look up that article. All right. You talked about blender pens, but didn't give me the brand of the black one. Last week I showed you a blender pen that I really liked that was the only one worth the money, and it was Stampin' Up, and there's a 3-pack for $10. You have to get it from your Stampin' Up demonstrator. Let's see. I am currently, S. Billinger 78 writes, I am currently donating some hand-folded boxes that I make to a non-profit organization that is very near and dear to my heart for families that have lost babies who never took a breath on this earth. It's very sad. I have a friend that is in an organization like that. In the past, I've made these boxes for sale and just purchased my pattern scrapbooking paper from local craft stores. I'm coming to find out the local stores run out quickly as I purchase the whole stack when they have it or when they have a sale. I'm needing to make 200 plus of these boxes a month, and I need 16 sheets of paper for each box. So I'm looking at needing bulk pattern scrapbooking paper in the exact same dark blue pattern, and I'm having a difficult time locating regular weight since the cardstock cracks when folded repeatedly. Any suggestions for me on where to look? Thank you for your time and all that you do. Okay. Couple things you can do here. My first suggestion would be to go to a local scrapbooking store if you have one. That would be like your mom and pop, not like your big box. And ask them if they will order the paper for you, because scrapbooking paper comes in reams of 25 sheets. So for your little mom and pop who gets that scrapbook paper in, there's a lot of loss in that. So that's why they go for, 60 cents, $1 a sheet, because half of it's not going to get sold or it's going to get damaged. If you say, I need to get 5 reams of that, they should give you a really good price. Another thing you might do, since you are a nonprofit, is you may try contacting the manufacturer, tell her what you do. They may even give you the paper if you put like a little ad on your blog, or you put a little sign next to what you're doing, because it gives them a really nice PR, and it helps you and it helps them, and you're doing this out of the goodness of your heart, not making money from it. So they may offer you some paper, especially if it's older and it's discontinued and they're not going to be selling it anymore anyway. So those are the 2 outlets I'd try. Another thing to try, if you have a printer and your ink is reasonably priced, like you buy the off-brand cartridges and you can print your own, you can try that. That might fade though. That would be my only concern, with those boxes might fade. So try those, and hopefully you can get a good buy in your paper, because I think that's a wonderful thing that you're doing, a great organization too. Jackie Brockett writes, is it true that if you store your ink pads upside down, the ink will flow to the top and last longer? Well, in some cases, yes. Dye-based ink pads you want to store upside down. Pigment-based ink pads you want to store right side up. And I would do your solvent-based ink pads upside down as well. That just keeps your juicy, thin inks right up to the top and ready to stamp when you are. When you need to re-ink an ink pad, though, I will tell you, re-ink it and then let it sit the right side up overnight before you flip it. Or if you're using any ink refresher or anything, let it sit upright so it can kind of get in there and rejuice all that good stuff underneath, and then flip it. All right, we're on page 2. We're not doing too bad. 9 minutes, page 2. We're cooking with gas, folks. All right, Dove 18,000 writes, I have a problem, and I hope you know the answer. I make cards and store them standing up in a shoebox, but those that have pop dots, which are raised foam adhesive, end up wrinkly. In that the pop dot is high and the space between the pop dot has sunk in. How can I keep the cards to look the same as when they were first made, or should I not try to make pop dotted cards ahead of time? I'm going to tell you a little trick. Foam adhesive and me, I gotta tell you the story. I send my cards, I'll pack up a box of cards and ship them off to a publisher and just hope for the best. And sometimes they get published, sometimes they don't. So I was looking through a magazine that I got sent to me from a publisher. I knew I had some cards in there because he sent me a free copy. And I come across one of my cards. I'm thinking, what is that white square in the corner of my card? That is just bizarre. I want to put that on there. What the heck is that? It was the adhesive square. My embellishment had fallen off and the adhesive was there. They dry out and they drop. So I'm not a fan of the foam adhesive if it's going to be a card I'm not giving away really soon. What I do to get that dimensional look though is I'll use my hot glue gun on the low temperature setting. And what I do, say if I had, I don't have anything I can reach, but say, well, let's just say this is like my little paper embellishment. And then I would put a layer of hot glue all over it, give it a nice even coating of it, and I'd let it dry. Then I would put a few dabs of hot glue and stick it onto my project. So I've got a nice firm base behind that embellishment. It's going to keep it raised up and it's not going to dent in, and it's not going to fall off in a couple weeks or a year or whatever. So just use hot glue, use low temperature, let it set up, and then put a little bit more on and stick it on your card and use that in lieu of pop dots. Otherwise, you're going to need to really just use a bunch of pop dots, and it's kind of wasteful and they may not hold up anyway. So that would be my tip for you. Sherry Wolf writes, I stayed to the end of the video. I had made a comment last time that probably nobody's staying to the end, but a lot of people told me that they did, and I've been editing down my questions a little bit for time's sake. I'm getting ready to work on some craft fair items and start storing them until I need to go to my next craft show. I guess my question is, on average, how much money do you make per craft show? I need to try and figure out which craft shows are the best to participate in. Well, I aim for, and it might be a little high, but I aim to sell $100 worth of merchandise per hour at a craft show. So I try to pace myself accordingly. I make sure I have enough inventory at the lower price point so I can fill in and sell that much. I also make sure I have enough matted watercolors because they tend to bring in more money. But I aim for $100 an hour as far as sales, craft fair sales. As far as picking a show, that's kind of tricky. I would say attend shows and make a note when you see one that's really well attended. If you see like your niche is being missed, like if you make something that's not like what anybody else makes, that would be a great show for you to do. Or if you see somebody that sells something similar or that would appeal to the same clientele and they're getting a lot of traffic and a lot of good customers, then that might be the place to sell at. So just keep that in mind as you're visiting craft fairs, where you think your work would fit in. I personally like to attend craft shows where I have a connection, like my children's school or a local community center, something where I know people that are going to be there, where I really want to help out that organization by giving my money over to rent a table. So that's how I kind of pick. I kind of stick to the smaller ones, just because I don't want it to be a crazy, stressful, unfun thing. I want it to be fun and relaxing and enjoyable. All right. Sally Clum writes, thank you for these videos. I'm learning a lot from you. You're welcome. I'm glad. Yay. Yay, learning. On craft fair displays, any ideas on ways to display greeting cards for sale? Do they have to be in bags? How can you get a lot of them out so people can see the variety? Thanks in advance for any ideas you can share. Well, I will say, if you go to my blog, thefrugalcrafter.wordpress.com, links up above, or not, down below in the show more section of this YouTube page, you'll see a link to my blog, and just search craft fair displays once you get there. But I have an old card rack that was given to me from a store that stopped selling a certain size card, so I use that. I use shallow boxes and baskets. You can like save boxes that you get products in, like grocery products in and stuff, and cover them with paper and use them. Try to keep the edge of the box like 4 inches or less so people can flip through and really see what you have in there. I really recommend putting your stuff in bags because they're going to save wear and tear. I know you go to like the drugstore or the Hallmark store and you see all those cards out and you just pick them up and you open them up and you read them and you put them back. Well, most handmade cards, the sentiments on the front and the insides are blank. They really don't need to be opened. And also, those Hallmark stores, they clear it out and they toss them like after a couple of months. So it's not like they need them to be pristine for any amount of time. So I really recommend using the clear bags, either from Paper Mart or Uline. They're pennies a piece and really they save the cards. But if you really don't want to use cards and you want a unique display, you could try using like shutters. If you had the kind of cards that are top fold, you could put them on the slats of shutters, and that would be kind of a unique way to display them. It's going to add wear and tear though, so you got to weigh whether that cool display is going to be worth maybe not having a card to sell the next time if it doesn't sell this time. So, just keep that in mind. I like shallow baskets. They always work, and there's always room to stick a basket of cards up somewhere. Let's see. Karen Taylor writes, my question is, what is the best glass cutting mat or a self-healing mat? Thank you. Apples and oranges. A glass cutting mat, and I actually just use an old glass chessboard when I need a glass mat. It's really great for if you have, if you're using an X-Acto knife, or if you're using like one of those Fisker shape cutters where you really want to be able to move freely. They don't seem to dull your blades as well, and your blade just glides along. Of course, it's more slippery, so keep that in mind. Your blade's gonna move faster on that type of cutting mat. A self-healing cutting mat, such as this. You need self-healing mats if you're going to use rotary tools, because they need something with give. When you're rolling that cutter across, it's got to give and kind of dent in. So it's really if you're doing a lot of X-Acto knife cutting, kind of like what a die cutter would do, I would go and get a glass mat. For rotary tools, I would use a self-healing. It's whatever you want to use it for, really. It's personal preference. Susan writes, "G'day, Lindsay. G'day, I love that Australian, yay. I'm looking to purchase a scoring board. What features would you recommend I look for in a board?" Oh my goodness, there are so many awesome scoring boards out. This one I've had for many years. It's a Score Pal, and I like it because it's got this mat that I can put in there, so I've kind of got two surfaces because I always end up piling higher and higher as I work. Honestly, you don't even want to see the table that this camcorder tripod's on because it is such a mess. I've got things piled to the ceiling in here today. It's really bad. But you got these little grooves on there that you run your little bone folder in, and helps you make really crisp folds, helps you when you fold a card. It's excellent for if you're doing 3D boxes and stuff like that. The Score Pal has a new design now. I've got like rubber cement on the corner here. That's gross. So the new Score Pal, I think, has grooves every 1/8 of an inch. Other companies that make them, Martha Stewart has a popular scoring board, and actually has like a triangle part so you can make envelopes. I found I can use a drafting triangle and make envelopes with the Score Pal as well. I think the Martha one is probably the cheapest because you can use a coupon and they stock it at the craft stores. This seems like a really nice board. There's a little storage place in it, which is also nice. And also Stampin' Up makes one, and the nice thing about the Stampin' Up one is it's a little wider. I think it's 12.5 by 12.5, and then there are other inserts you can put in to make like scallop lines or fancy edges. That's really nice, and it's got little it's got like these little markers on the Stampin' Up one, so you, like, if you were making like invitations for a wedding and you needed to make like 50 of the same card, you could actually set your scoring points, so you're doing all that repetitive work over and over, and you can see, so you don't make a mistake and score in the wrong place. So probably the Stampin' Up one is nice if you want to be able to set your sizes, and they're all great. I like the Score Pal one. They were the original. The Score Pal company is awesome, second to none in customer service, and the free ideas and projects and templates they offer to use with your scoring board. So really, customer service, I say go with Score Pal. Cheapest, I would say go with Martha Stewart because you can buy it with a coupon. And probably the most expensive would be the Stampin' Up, but they've got the other fancy inserts if that's what you want. So you are armed with info now, so you can buy the best scoring board for you. Oh, I misplaced my words, my questions. All right, where was I? Okay. Wyrosha asks, 2 questions actually. I am looking into buying a die cutting machine. Everyone claims theirs is the best. Which machine really is the most versatile for my money? Well, I actually had to research this last year because the school's PTA was buying a die cutting machine for the teachers to use. They were going to buy a bunch of new dies for their old Ellison machine, but then we thought, if we had an electronic machine, they could cut whatever they wanted. Just set it, let it cut, set it and forget it, just like the old Ron Popeil machines. And what we decided, or what I researched to find out, was that the Sizzix Eclipse is the most versatile for when you can use cartridges. So if somebody is kind of nervous about the computer, they could just plug a cartridge in and go. for those that wanted to use a computer, they partnered with CraftEdge, the company that makes Cuts a lot, and they made a software called Cuts a lot, which works with the Eclipse, so you could cut whatever you wanted, all your fonts, clip art from the computer. Is very easy to use. So that's what we went with. Plus, I could help them if they got stuck with that software, since I run Cuts a lot at home with my die cutter. And most of the other die cutters are one or the other. You either can use cartridges like Cricut. They will not allow you to use any software with it. I luckily squeaked it under the wire and got Cuts a lot before Cricut sued them. And that's why I don't like Cricut products anymore. I don't buy any Procraft stuff anymore. So that's my story. I know people are going to ask, well, what's wrong? What do you have for a die cutter? Why don't you tell us, Lindsay? Why are you being so secretive over there? Well, that's why I have a Cricut, and I'm not too happy about it. Anyway, so I would say the Eclipse, because I think the Sizzix company is excellent. They put out great products, and they allow you to use your products the way you want to. So I would go with the Sizzix Eclipse. Also, if you have any problems with it, they're Johnny on the spot, and they will help you, and they will put things right. And if your machine is pooched, they will replace it. So I really can't recommend Sizzix high enough. The Silhouette is also very popular. You have to use a computer with that. They do have different models. Depending on what your budget is and how big you want to cut. Honestly, I think the Eclipse by Sizzix is probably the way to go, because it's easy to use. I had that puppy out of the box and cutting in like 5 minutes, and I am not a technical person. I couldn't even give somebody my right Pinterest account last week when I said it. Oh, it's Lindsay Weirich on Pinterest. No, it's actually the Frugal Crafter. I shouldn't be allowed to touch technology, but so if I can run an Eclipse, so can you. So that would be my answer to your first question. And also, I'm looking into jelly printing plates. Do you have one? If so, are there other uses for them other than making awesome backgrounds? I don't have a jelly plate, and I want a jelly plate. That's a problem. I want one, and I don't have one. Don't you hate that? But anyway, I got a box of gelatin, and I can make a jelly plate. And I know gelatin isn't vegan, so please don't be all in my face. Sure, vegan, you can't use gelatin. My diet is vegan. I wear leather shoes, so shoot me. It's just my diet that's vegan. Anyway, and I'm nice to animals. So you can make a gelatin plate out of gelatin. Durfee, that's where they got the idea from. And there's a great book, which I actually have right here, Making Monotypes with Using a Gelatin Plate by Nancy Markulowicz. And it tells you all about how to set up your plate. I hope this is still, I got this probably about 12 years ago. I hope it's still current, but I took a class on gelatin printmaking, and it's excellent. It's so much fun. If you want to do basically your mono printing, I mean, you could use a piece of plexiglass and do a similar effect. The nice thing about the jelly plate is that it's really squishy, and so it's easy to transfer the design that you've put on the jelly plate onto your paper. So I would say go ahead, you can make a gelatin plate. It's like making Jell-O, but you're making it really concentrated, so you almost have like a rubbery plate. And if you can let it dry out for a couple of weeks before you use it, that thing will last you for weeks and weeks. So I would even recommend doing that to see if you really want one before you plunk down $20 for a gelatin plate, for a jelly plate. I want a jelly plate still. When my local store cares when I'm gonna bring a coupon in, I'm gonna buy one for $10. I'm telling you what, I want a jelly plate. I'm just getting silly now. Look at that. 10 minutes till the bus is down. All right. Anna Maria Davis also has 2 questions. She writes, can your digital stamp compatible with your Silhouette Cameo? Is your digital stamp compatible with the Silhouette Cameo? Would I be able to print an image from the Silhouette Cameo and be able to adjust size? Thanks, Anna. I'm a new Silhouette owner. Okay, I think she's asking, can you print and cut with the Silhouette, print a digital stamp and then cut it on the Silhouette? I don't have a Silhouette, but I have Fairy Cut that I can use with my Cricut and my computer. I have the old version. You can't get it anymore. I'm sorry. But so I can print, I can open up a digital stamp or any clip art file on in Fairy Cut, and I can basically click a button and it will make like an outline for me, and I can adjust whether I like that or not, and then I can print the picture, and then I load it on my mat, just like it shows me on the software, and put it in, and it will cut a border around it. So you can do that in Silhouette. I didn't know exactly the steps because I don't have one, but yes, you should be able to do that. But your printing, remember, is coming off your printer, and then you're lining it up on your mat and putting your mat through your Silhouette. So it's two different machines working here. Your printer's working, then your Silhouette's working. Let's see, where are we? And also she asks, I just love watching your weekly Ask a Crafter. Well, thank you. I learn a lot. My question is about card making. I love to make cards using my computer as well as making with ribbon, pearls, die cuts, etc. How do you go about setting a fair price if you want to start selling your cards? Boy, it's kind of hard to get your time out of your cards. So what I recommend doing is while you have all your supplies out and you make that one card that takes you like half an hour, make 4 or 5 if you want to sell them, because that'll only take you another 10 minutes to make 4 or 5 more while you have all your supplies out. So then you could sell them. I generally sell them for about $5. That seems to be a good fair price. You got to figure people are going to Hallmark and they're spending $5 on a printed card, one that actually has all kinds of goodies on it. Should sell for at least that much and maybe even more. If I do a hand painted card, which could take me the same amount of time, I can sell for $7 or $8 just because it's hand painted. It's silly, but yeah, I would start at $5. See how that goes. If they're selling really well, your next batch could be a little bit more. But you need to make in bulk if you want to be able to get your money for your time. Because if you make every card originally putting all your supplies away, getting out new supplies, making another card, putting those away, getting out new supplies, it's going to take. You're not going to make your money back. You're going to be making sweatshop wages for your card. So just if you're going to make one, make 4 or 5, and then do the same thing each time you make a card. Hopefully, it won't get too boring for you. Let's see. Anna writes, another Anna. It's not the same one though. I was wondering if you could offer some advice. No, this is Kat. I'm sorry, Kat. I should have known better. I was wondering if you could offer some advice on the most cost-effective ways to mat pictures. Thanks again, Kat. I actually just posted a video. I'll put the link on the in the show more section of this YouTube video, but it's a couple videos ago on my channel if you want to find that. But I cut my own because I am a framer. I frame pictures for clients, so I use the scraps usually to frame my own work. It's free, it's a great way to use up those scraps. If you don't want to cut your own mats, you got to figure out a sheet of mat board you can get from anywhere between $4 and $6 a sheet generally, and you can get lots of mats. Like I usually get 4 16 by 20s, but then the holes from the middle of those 16 by 20 mats, I can make 11 by 14s or 8 by 10s or 5 by 7s. I can use all that scrap, so nothing really goes to waste. And then the tiniest squares in the middle, I can paint on or do watercolor crayon pictures on. So really nothing goes to waste if you decide to learn how to cut your own mats. If you don't want to do that, you can go to stores like dickblick.com, cheapjoes.com, aswexpress.com, and you can buy packs of 10 white mats and black mats in various sizes and do it that way, but you're kind of stuck with those sizes. But it's certainly affordable. Excuse me. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, pardon me. So you can do that, and that's very easy and cost effective as well. And just Google bulk mats. You might even find a better deal than that. I like ordering from Blick and ASW Express because I've ordered from them for years and I have great luck. Cheap Joe's is good too. And I love the name. That's funny. Cheap Joe's. Let's see. Kim Scrapper writes, great idea to have subbies ask questions. We really appreciate all of your knowledge. Here's a question I would like to know for another segment. Do you have any ideas for homemade stencil paste? Thanks and hugs. Yes. Yes, I do. Cheap white latex caulking is the best stencil paste, and it costs 99 cents a tube, like one of those big tubes you put in a caulking gun. Get the cheapest paintable latex white caulking you can find. You can tint it with acrylic paint. They're very compatible, and just use an old credit card to squeegee it over your brass stencils. I'm gonna have to do a video on that too. Keep your eyes peeled for that. I can't promise when it will happen. I'm kind of busy right now. I'm illustrating a children's book. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to tell you more about that. But so I'm busy right now, but I think I'll get to that. That sounds like a really fun idea. But yeah, just mix the paintable white latex caulking with acrylic paint, and you've got yourself some fine texture paste right there. You could probably use it as molding paste too. A Lovable writes, how do you come up with new ideas? This old brain is always cranking away crafty ideas when I ought to be thinking about what to make for dinner and cleaning my house. My brain wanders off into the crafty side of life. Always look on the crafty side of life. Monty Python. Yeah, so I don't know. A lot of times I'll find like a product that I want to copy. Like I'll see like gelatos, for instance. Well, how can I do that? Can I do that technique with something I already have? So that's a lot of times I'll see a technique I like. I don't have the product, so I want to try with what I have. Other times things will just come to me, or I'll have a lot of something like keychains. I have a ton of key rings right now that I'm trying to find something to do with. So I'm always thinking, oh, well, I could put that on there, and I can do this, and I can do that, and I can sew that. So basically, I think of what I have and what I can do with it. I dig through my recycling bin. I look on Pinterest. Which I'm Frugal Crafter on Pinterest, apparently. Not Lindsay Weirich. Duh. You know, just, yeah, I will wander around a craft store and open my eyes and see what other ideas come to me. Sometimes I'll wander through a clothing store, and I'll see patterns that I like and trends that I want to try. Or I'll pay attention to trends online, like the Pantone colors, and I'll think, oh, I like that color. Maybe I could do that with my beads. Or so it's very abstract and random how I come up with ideas. They're just kind of flying at me from all directions, I guess. I don't know. I think, though, creativity is a use it or lose it muscle, just like any other muscle in your body. The more creative you are, the more things you try, the more ideas you'll get. So just start trying stuff, and you'll have some epic craft fails. I have them all the time, but you'll have more successes than fails the more you do it. All right, well, that was a long answer to a like 5-word question. Wanda writes, I too stayed to the end. Why not? My question is to you: how do you go about getting your talent seen by craft companies and by part of their design teams or product testing? Are there websites for the crafter looking to join craft product testings that you may know of or have used? Thank you for taking the time to make your videos and sharing your knowledge, Wanda. All right, Wanda. Honestly, my advice, if you want to work for a craft company, if you want to be on a design team, I would just write an email to the owner and say, hey, I like your stuff. I'd like to be on your design team. Are you having a call? Or, here's a link to my blog. Do you like my wares? Would you let me be on your design team? Because generally how this relationship works between you and a craft company on a design team is that they send you free products, and you make stuff and you post it on your blog. You send it to magazines to be published. When you join a design team, every design team is going to have different expectations of you, but generally they send you stuff and you send them finished products, or sometimes you just have to post them online. The design teams I do now, pretty much just stuff I can post it online or send off to magazines. Generally, if you're going to get paid, you're paid on if your artwork gets published, or if you're demoing at a stamp show or something like that. So you'll have to see whether what they expect of you is worth the free products that you're getting, because it's a lot of work, and I think a lot of people don't understand that. But you can usually find design team calls on companies' blogs. If you Google design team call, you'll probably find some current calls that are going on. There's a website called Scrapbook Update that puts those calls out sometimes. There used to be websites that all they did was put design team calls and submission calls on there. But I think generally, like, if you want to get your work in a magazine, just go to the magazine's website, see what they're looking for art, and email them photos. Or sometimes you have to send the actual work. Just do what they say in their submission guidelines, and hope for the best. You got to submit a lot though before you get something accepted. Usually I submitted my artwork for 2 years before I finally got something in a magazine. So don't give up. If I gave up at a year and a half, I wouldn't be here making a video. I guarantee it. I would have been discouraged. You just have to keep on submitting, and and it's not that your work is bad if it doesn't get picked up, or if you don't get picked for a design team. It could be that somebody that had a broader reach on their blog or YouTube channel got the job because they could get their products in front of more people. So don't take it personally if you don't get on a design team. And don't let it deter you from trying. I mean, if there's a company you absolutely love, write to them and say, listen, I love your products. That's how I actually got on the design team for About Art Accents. Good old stalking, good old American ingenuity stalking will get you on some design team sometime. And I'm still on their design team 5 years later. It's been a ball. So that's what I would say. You just and if you have a blog posting every day, putting your work on websites like Split Coast Stampers or 2 Peas in a Bucket, places like that where people are going to see your work. Basically, you just have to keep putting work out there, and you'll get noticed. So that's the advice that I have to give. Lindsay writes, can you please tell me how to find a channel when you like a video and want to see more? Your stuff is great, by the way, but what are these channels? Honestly, I'm the worst person in the world to ask about technology things, but if you, say if you're on my channel, hello people on my channel, and you see my name, The Frugal Crafter, and you click on that, it should take you to to either my channel page or page about me, but usually there's a thing you can click, this says uploads, and that would just show you a big list of all 209 videos that I have up there on YouTube. And you can, like if you subscribed to me, if you click that little subscribe button, and if you do, thanks so much, I really appreciate it, then on the side of your YouTube page when you're watching a video, I think it's over there. I get backwards. I get a little confused here with my right and left when I'm doing a video. But on one side or the other, I'm not sure which, there'll be a list of all the channels you subscribe to, and you click on one of those names and it'll take you right to their channel. So easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And do you have a link for your Pinterest boards? I couldn't find you. Whoa, big surprise. Actually, I did just put a link on my YouTube channel page on the header. There's a little P with a red circle around it. If you click on that, then it'll take you to my Pinterest boards, and you can follow me, and we'll be friends. We'll be Pinterest friends. Woo, Pinterest buddies. You can see all my nerdy pins, my Doctor Who pins, and my Sherlock pins. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, we got one question left. We're doing good. And the camera's still rolling. Glittery Inkiness writes, I was still here. Love you. You're awesome. I could watch you read the telephone directory. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. This is cheeky, not craft related. I heard you say you're in New England region. Well, we're making a trip from the UK, and this is the region we want to explore. We plan to come in autumn to see all the fall colors, but aren't sure which dates would be best. I know it's not an exact science, but maybe you could give us a rough idea. Thanks so much for all your great videos. Okay, Joss, because that's her real name. I would recommend, if you're coming up to Maine, I would start in Bar Harbor, and I would come the last week in September, and that's when the foliage is going to be getting peak, but it's still going to be really nice out. And it's not too crazy busy, and that's a lovely little coastal town. Acadia National Park is right there. You'll be able to go on the carriage roads, hike the mountain. It's just gorgeous. You'll really have a nice time, and it's very peaceful. Then if you want to work your way down the East Coast, the next week, if you got into the Boston area, then they're going to start having their peak season. So from like about the last week of September in Maine to the second week of October down near Martha's Vineyard, Cape Cod, that area, you're going to have the most beautiful views. And I think if you've got a 3-week window like that, you're definitely going to hit the peak time. So yes, please come on over, awesome British people. We love our tourists. We love our British. I love the British people. I love your accents. It's just so awesome. You sound very intelligent and yet a little bit like a villain at the same time. I love the British accent. It's so nice. Wahaha. All right, well, that's it. That does it for me. The bus is going to be here in like 5 minutes, and I got to get kids to baseball, brownies, and then softball. I got to get dinner on the table at 3 o'clock because it's like one of those crazy, crazy afternoons. Thank you so much for watching. If you have a question, you leave a comment, and I will answer it next week in this crazy wackiness that I like to call Ask a Crafter. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting!